What if the most recent trade deal between the US and China was the local top for Bitcoin? In today's video, we'll be discussing exactly that. We'll be going over the recent Bitcoin price action, looking at the most important levels that you need to pay attention to as it pertains to trading, and we'll be covering some of the most recent news in the industry. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So let's take a look at Bitcoin first, as we normally do. On this chart, this is the same chart that we've been going over in the past videos, and nothing has changed. Bitcoin just continues to consolidate right below the previous all-time high. As we can see now, at the time of recording this video, we are hovering just above $103,000 since the high a couple days ago, around 105.8K. Now, it is very bullish for Bitcoin to hold this little range over here to make an attempt to hopefully break above $106,000. This is the most important level, as I've been saying in many of my videos. 106K, a daily close above there, and we would likely be going much higher. Now, at the beginning of this video, I did discuss the possibility of a potential local top with what happened between China and the US, the trade deal, of course. The reason I'm bringing this up is because we have seen that significant events like this for Bitcoin tends to mark tops in the market. Exhibit A over here, as you can see this vertical line back on January 20th, this was the inauguration. We hit $109,000 and Bitcoin was correcting ever since. Now, we targeted the bottom of the previous range set in 2024, and then we got a massive pump to the upside. So, for you bears out there, this is probably what you want to pay attention to. Could this trade deal, which occurred between May 11th and 12th for the US and China, mark the local top for Bitcoin? It's always a possibility, but we're holding above this range. Now, if Bitcoin does continue to just chop around this range and keeps on holding this yellow line as support, which sits right above $102,000, I would be more and more optimistic that we're fueling up enough steam for us to move and break past that 106K as support. But remember, breaking above 106K is not the goal. It's breaking above and then holding there on the daily time frame. And if you're new to the channel, the reason why that's the case is because every single time that we broke above $106,000, we failed to hold there on the daily time frame, and Bitcoin went ahead and resorted lower. So keep your eyes on this level. A daily confirmed close above 106K, and the sky is the limit for Bitcoin. Now, something else that I wanted to show you that could be a potential possibility here if Bitcoin is to resort lower is replaying 2021. What do I mean by this? We can see that in 2021, we did indeed have a nice double top. And if I relay the double top here, what we can see is that if this were to repeat, there is a chance that Bitcoin could go ahead, dump back to the breakdown region, which we've been discussing in a lot of my videos recently, and then set a new all-time high. This all-time high would bring us somewhere in the range of 115 to 120K. And then if things were to repeat as such, it would likely be the bear market after. Now, my optimistic target for this cycle, as I've shared, is around 150K Bitcoin, but I will start aggressively taking profits right around 115 to 120K. That is where I start. And just quickly, for those of you that are new to the channel, the previous breakdown region is all the way here, right between $93,000 up to $98,000. This is where Bitcoin chopped around a lot before it went ahead and made its new low. Now, we chopped into this region once more before pumping all the way back into this higher region for Bitcoin. And so, if Bitcoin were to break this support level, I do think that it could find its way back below $100,000 and into this range to hold as support. Now, this would be bullish to hold this level as support. It would likely give Bitcoin even more fuel to move much higher towards the end of the year. I think that the bull market top will likely be around the end of Q3, beginning of Q4 2025. Now, no one can predict with absolute certainty. I'm just taking a look at the price action, and whatever the price action gives me, that is how I will be adjusting my crypto portfolio. Now, if you want to trade Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrencies, you have the first link in my description down below, which brings you directly to BTCC. It's a fantastic exchange that I've been using for a while now, and you can even trade stocks with leverage. That means Apple, Meta, MicroStrategy, Google. You name it, you can trade it with leverage on BTCC, and you can also earn up to $10,000 in welcome rewards for signing up with the first link in my description down below and trading as you normally would. For those of you that don't want to use BTCC, I also have an exchange link with Weeks, and they offer a $100 bonus for the first 100 people that go ahead and sign up with my link down below. That bonus can be used to reduce your trading fees or for your overall trading positions. If you like that kind of bonus and you also want to sign up to Weeks, that is the second link in my description down below. Personally, I'm signed up to a lot of exchanges because I think it's very wise to spread your wealth across different crypto exchanges. If you were here last cycle, we know what happened with FTX. And so to me, it's a security measure where I go ahead and spread my funds across multiple exchanges. You have both links in my description down below and you get the best deals with my links. Now back to the Bitcoin chart. I think it's very clear. I'm still waiting for things to play out. If Bitcoin continues to break down, because as I'm recording this video now, it's right around 102.9K. If we cannot hold this key level as support, I do think that Bitcoin will find its way, even if it's just a wick, back into this breakdown region to hopefully hold that level as support. I think we probably need a little bit more fuel before Bitcoin can really make an attempt at an all-time high. So I'm not that convinced that we will just explode past $109,000 and explode past 106K and hold it as support. I think we still need to wait a little bit for that to happen. And wouldn't it just be ironic that everyone was panicking with this trade war, and finally, when we get the news that the US and China signed an agreement, we made it just below $106,000, but make sure you're careful with these major events. A lot of people might think, wow, this is incredible, I'm just gonna go fully long. But as you can see, the price action does not suggest that that's a good idea. Same thing with the inauguration. I spoke to someone today that said that they went aggressively long on the day of the inauguration, and of course, you can see what happened afterwards. Remember that the markets are very forward thinking, and it's likely that things get priced in before they actually happen. This is why the inauguration was the perfect top, because everything was priced in. A pro-crypto president and a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I mean, what more could you ask for? Everything was priced in. And then whenever we had these crypto conferences and events that Trump attended with all of his staff, we went ahead and got some minor pumps only to go ahead and resort lower. So until we can break above 106K on the daily time frame, I would not be going aggressively long. That being said, we can still make profits in this market. And as a matter of fact, I do have my Telegram group if this interests you. And it's down below. It's completely free. But what I do in my Telegram group is I have my main group where I'm sharing my life, I'm sharing trades, I'm sharing some crypto alpha on a daily basis, but I also have a signal group where we've been posting a ton of signals. So we launched the group on April 23rd, and so far we took profits 23 times, our stop losses were hit 3 times, and we closed our trades at break even 5 times. So if you include the break evens in your calculations for our win rates, our members profited around 74.2% of the time. And if we only include the wins versus losses, because I know that some of you like to do that because who really counts break even anyways, our win rate is actually 88.5%. Now, I don't think it'll always be this high, but this is also a free group that you can join as long as you sign up with one of my exchange links down below. Now, if you join this main Telegram group over here down below and you DM me, I'm more than happy to onboard you into the Signals group. I'll see you inside. Let's take a look now at some of the news that actually happened, because JP Morgan settled its first transaction on a public blockchain using Chainlink and Ondo to move tokenized treasuries beyond its private network. This is huge news for tokenization and for the crypto industry as a whole. Ondo did see a little bit of a spike here. We pumped from $1 all the way up to about $1.11, but then we came a little bit down, and Chainlink currently didn't react that well. We can see that we're only up 1% on the day. But ultimately, this is super positive for the industry in the long term. Now, we also have some new deals with the tariffs. Trade tariff deals with Japan and South Korea said to be close, according to sources. So we could see some more trade deals start to unravel, but China and US was really the big one, and that's where we got that wick to just below $106,000. The next thing I wanted to show you quickly is the ETH Bitcoin chart. We are approaching the most important level that I've been talking about on the channel at length. And if you're new here, that level is right at the bull market support band, which is this green line and this red line, as you can see. Basically, we need to hold above this level as support for us to see continued momentum for not just Ethereum against Bitcoin and Ethereum's US dollar valuation, but also for the entire altcoin market. As I've been saying, historically, Ethereum determines how the rest of the altcoin market will be performing. So until we get multiple closes above this bull market support band, don't celebrate yet, because I know that altcoins have started to pump, but you know my base case. I still think that because of monetary policy, Bitcoin dominance will likely continue to increase. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact that we held this prior support level established back in 2019, and we got a massive pump from this level. Just remember though, we've gotten pumps like this before, only for ETH Bitcoin to resort lower. So wait for the confirmation above here, and then I will be talking about altcoins on the channel, even if monetary policy doesn't change. Now, the next thing that I wanted to show you that I thought was quite interesting was, thus far, Trump has been a pretty good trading indicator. If we take a look at this chart, Trump came out back in December. I don't want to get in a situation where they do buy stocks and we have a dip or something, because that can always happen. And as you can see, that was right around the top where we went ahead and dipped into January. Then Trump came out once we got a little bit of a relief rally and said, I'm not even looking at the stock market. Crazy comments from a president. But as you know, we absolutely dumped. And this is for the S&P 500. Then Trump came out and said, this is a great time to buy. We pumped like crazy. And then just a few days ago, he said, you better go out and buy stocks now. And we can see the pump afterwards. Now, speaking of stocks, because you know that I like to look at this chart on the channel as well, we are currently above the 200-day moving average. The more we can hold above here, the more I am bullish on not just stocks, but also Bitcoin, because they have been correlated recently. And I think that if stocks continue to hold the 200-day moving average as support, Bitcoin will soar much higher and finally make that attempt at having a daily close above $106,000. And the last piece of news before I look at the liquidation maps, President Trump says we're leading China in crypto. He also came out and said he's a big fan of crypto. Pretty positive to have a president on our side. Now, if we take a look at the liquidation heat map, one thing you'll notice here is that there is starting to be a lot of liquidity, around $100 million worth of liquidity right below where we currently are. It would not surprise me if Bitcoin goes ahead and moves lower to try and target this liquidity. Now, on the longer time frame here, we do need to understand that a lot of people are still very much longing this market. We can see that if Bitcoin were to drop back to $90,000, that would result in just under $17 billion of cumulative long liquidation leverage. On the other side though, if Bitcoin pumps all the way up to $117,000, that would only resort to around $4.6 billion worth of short liquidation leverage. So keep your eyes on this chart, because a lot of people are still very much going long. All while the fear and greed index is still sitting right around 73. So we are in a greedy period. It's time to be careful. The other thing that I want to show you is that the global open interest is up $15 billion after the recent FOMC meeting. That is absurd. And that tells me that a lot of people, both longers and shorters, will be getting liquidated. We're about to have a massive move in the market, so make sure you're paying attention. There's one last thing that I really want to show you, and if there's anything you can take away from this video, I hope it's this. That is the change in ownership of Bitcoin in 2025. What do you notice on this chart here? Businesses have accumulated 157,000 Bitcoins. Funds and ETFs have accumulated 49,000 Bitcoins. Other accumulated around 21,000 Bitcoins. Governments have accumulated 19,000 Bitcoins. And over here, individuals have lost 247,000 Bitcoin. When I say lost, I mean they probably sold it to the market and got shaken out. If you've been in this industry for a while, you know that Bitcoin is the gold of the 21st century. Yes, we have bull markets. Yes, we have bear markets. But over the long term, Bitcoin continues to go up. And that's also why I've been saying any profits that I make, I use to have, of course, my cash position, but I've also been using those profits to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible. But anyways, the key message here is that in the long term, you need to stop selling your Bitcoin to banks, to institutions, to countries, to MicroStrategy, for example. Please stop it. Bitcoin is this freedom tool. Now, I might sound like a Bitcoin maximalist here, and over the past 4 years, it did make a lot more sense to hold Bitcoin instead of altcoins, but ultimately, any profits that I make with altcoins, when we get that shift in monetary policy, will go directly into Bitcoin. Bitcoin is here to stay no matter what. So make sure you remember that and make sure you keep on dollar cost averaging. Not financial advice, of course, but that's just what I'm doing. And you need to have conviction in this asset class. We are lucky to be alive while Bitcoin was created. And that sums up today's video. Bitcoin is still hovering around a key support level right above $102,000. We wicked below it down to the 100K level, but it seems like we've been holding it as support. Now, if we break below this level, I do think we should be targeting the previous breakdown region, but if we can hold this level as support and then break above $106,000, Bitcoin will likely be going much, much higher, assuming we get that daily close above that level. In the meantime, there's a lot of positive news that just came out for the crypto industry, so keep your eyes on the charts because I think we're about to get a massive move. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.